Well, hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Making the Hot Tag. We have squishies with us today.
We did. They're our guests.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with these, but they're super good anxiety things for kids.
Stress relief.
Yeah, so my stepchildren decided that they would help us out and donate these to this particular filming.
Yes.
So
They were sitting on the bed as I came in to get set up.
That's I'm just super squishy and nice.
I'm just gonna pet mine.
Can you just try it? You don't have to leave it there, but just...
Oh, yeah, that does feel...
Right?
All right, so welcome to this episode where we sleep.
What is this going to look like, though, on? So it's going to look like this is part of our heads?
I don't know what it's going to look like.
All right. Well,
just two comfortable hosts.
Okay. And we're drinking.
That's per the norm.
Yes, we're drinking out of our Papoose Pond cups because what are we doing tomorrow?
We are driving up to Papoose Pond, which is in middle-ish of Maine.
Yep, right smack in the middle of the state. And we're going to do our...
I think we've mentioned it a couple of times, but Deirdre's putting on a writer's retreat.
Yeah, and we are going to be there, so we thought, toast to it.
It's wonderful, beautiful-looking
Oh my God, my drink is so good today.
It is. Hits differently.
Yeah, some days it's better than others. It's just particularly good today. Of course, it's been a crazy weekend/week getting ready.
Last 4 or 5 days have just been pretty wild.
Yeah, I've been, in one day, I cooked pulled pork, pulled chicken, homemade spaghetti sauce, squash and sweet potatoes. Vegetable chili, roasted potatoes, carrots and turnips. That might have been it.
Yeah.
And since then, I've made macaroni and cheese.
Oh, you made the mac and cheese?
I made the mac and cheese this morning, and I've made hummus. Hummus and macaroni and cheese.
That was the last two.
It was, but I'm thinking about making little egg tartlets for breakfast. I don't know if I'm going to do that here or there.
Okay. Well, you've given yourself enough.
I have given
enough space to be able to do that. So. It's good that Deirdre has done this just for her sake.
Yeah,
her sanity more than our comfort. Everything she cooks is amazing anyway.
Thank you. But I like having it done in advance so I can think and focus on the retreat. And
yes.
Yeah. All right. So today we're going to focus on our other live match.
Yep. Last week we talked about the big time wrestling featuring FTR and Bret Hart. That was the Friday of our weekend, and on Sunday we went to another wrestling show.
Yes, in Foxborough.
Correct.
And Six Strings?
Yep, Six String restaurant or cafe or grill, whatever it is. It's literally in the same plaza as Gillette Stadium or the Patriots play.
It's Patriot Place, so... excuse me. That was unnecessary. Although I'm not, totally into them right now. That's still not necessary. It's mean.
Sorry.
You're not sorry.
No, I'm not totally not sorry.
Not even a little bit. Although I'm a big fan of his team now because they've at least been kind of trying to give Colin Kaepernick a shot.
Oh, the Raiders, yes.
Yeah, so,
We'll see what happens there.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this. So one of the great things about this match is it's at the site of my very first live match.
Correct.
So it was like a reunion.
So this is Beyond Wrestling. The same promotion where we went to the first time. It's actually the title of the show is the sequel to what we went to. We went to Please Come Back 2. This is Please Come Back 3. And it's a subset because, without going into too much detail, Beyond Wrestling essentially has a sister promotion called Wrestling Open. That promotion has the real new people who are really trying to break into the business and really make a living. So it was Beyond Wrestling versus Wrestling Open.
Yeah, they were fighting against each other.
Correct.
Yeah, all of the time. Which was fun because people were chanting for both.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, so let's go through it. What do we have up first?
All right, so the first match...
Oh, wait, before you do the first match, we had great seats. We were on the stage.
Correct.
We were right near the aisle, so it was really cool. That was where they were doing the interviews and all of that. Correct. So we had great seats. We were higher so we could see them, so it was fun.
We were even, the stage was even with the ring, so we were looking straight on to the matches. We had a waitress to deliver us beverage.
Can I just tell you that Brendan got bombed?
Yeah.
Just so you know. I did not because I was driving. But Brendan was really drunk. And then he wanted to film making the hot tag when we got home, but one of his eyes was almost all the way closed and the other one was open, and I told him we couldn't.
If you send me the picture, you'll see it right here somewhere. I took
a picture to prove to him. He was like, "That's not true," and I was like, "Look." He was like, "All right, maybe we should film tomorrow."
Yeah, I looked like I enjoyed myself.
And he did enjoy himself. All right, so who's up first?
All right, so first match was the women's match. Mm-hmm. It was Becca facing Alec.
That was the I don't know why I thought that was the second one.
It's weird. I kind of thought it was the second one too, but it was not.
Are you sure?
The website I'm pulling it from.
I feel like they made a mistake because I think that was the second one.
I'll take a look as we get to the end.
Okay, so anyway, for that match, I kind of liked that. So I was really worried when the two girls came out because I thought.
If you go back to last
week's, maybe we were going to hear some misogynistic garbage, and it was going to ruin my good time. But we didn't. There were just people cheering for either side.
This crowd is a lot more respectful of women's wrestling, and that goes back to Beyond's previous shows.
Yeah,
it's where Chris Statlander got her big break, so it's a lot more inviting for women's wrestling.
Well, I was a huge fan of Alley Cat right off the bat.
Yep.
So, well, she was part of
Busick.
Yes. But I liked her less because of what I knew about her before and more because of her performance in this particular match. Now, let's be clear. This was an entertainment match.
Yes.
So when we were talking last week about how some matches are meant... they aren't really fighting. I mean, nobody's really fighting, but they're not trying to even necessarily look like they're fighting.
Right. There are matches where the match is the strong point, and there's matches where there's a story going on.
Yeah, and that was the case with this.
Right. So Becca, if you don't know, is the girlfriend or partner of Alec Price, and so Alec came to the ring with Becca and. Their relationship's a bit one-sided.
Yeah, so she kept yelling at him that he couldn't look at anybody and just stop looking at people.
Other fans were trying to talk to him in ringside, and Becca exploded at him.
She was not having any of that. Right. And he was like, what? So Big Tuffy in the ring was all super whipped in the audience. So
Alley Catch eventually wins because, if I remember correctly, Becca got distracted. Yelling at Alex.
It was totally a setup thing. I think Allie was losing at that point, and then somehow... So it was kind of a cheap win. In fact, then Becca yelled at him and blamed him.
Right, and stormed off. And then there was a setup for the event that's actually happening today or next week, I think. But
I think it's next week.
Yeah.
Where
it's an intergender tag match. Right. So it's Becca and Alec Price versus, remember Masha Slamovich, the Russian?
Yeah.
And her partner is Akira, who we've never seen before.
Okay. So it was a fun way to start. Let's put it that way. Although I still am convinced it was second. But it was a fun way to start. Yep. And I was a huge Allie fan, and it was really fun rooting for her. And she was extremely performance savvy.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, she does a lot of wrestling in another big independent promotion, GCW, where she kind of has to stand out because a whole other story, that promotion's focus is on something else, but she stands out because of her.
Yeah, she's very performance-oriented,
All right, so next match was the 8-man tag match.
Oh my God. All right, so let's start by the fact that when you first told me, he warned me before they announced, he said this is an 8-man tag match. And I was like, yuck, I'm not going to like it. Because I don't like tag matches where I can't follow. Right, where I don't know who anybody is.
People spill out to the outside, you lose focus on everyone, and makes sense.
But one of the good things about this was, I think part of it was our seating and me being able to really see them. But also, they were all so individual. So I think in tag matches in the past, some of the teams are similar to each other.
Right.
And so you get them confused. I didn't get anybody confused. The only problem was it wasn't 4 separate tag teams. It was 2.
Right. One side was 2 tag teams. So 4 people, 1 group was a ongoing tag team. The other group was an ongoing tag team.
Yep.
They were against kind of a tag team, like a stable.
Yeah.
So they don't always tag team, but they're grouped together.
But basically, it was a bunch of people against a bunch of people.
Okay, let me go through the names.
Wait, before you do that, okay. So it's tricky because I liked some on one and some on the other. There was like too many to pick from. All right, so go through them.
All right,
do you know the order they came in the ring?
Not the order. I
Okay.
mean,
I
think I do. All right, so on one team, we had the Shook crew, which is Bobby Orlando, who you've seen on the show before.
Who I wanted to lose, and I hate.
Even though you interviewed him.
I know, but he's I don't like him.
It's Bobby Orlando.
With his stupid goat.
And his partner, Bryce Donovan. They're the Shook crew.
Yeah.
And they tagged with another Deirdre favorite, CPA.
Yeah, so I wanted to root against that team because I also do not like CPA.
And the final guy on that team is, he's been on the show once, Dan Barry.
So I kind of liked Dan.
Yeah, no, he's a fun guy. I've seen him a couple of times.
So I sort of wanted to root for him. Right. And,
I mean, side story, weird, but I ran into him in the bathroom after, and he kept on taking all of the paper towels. So that's my...
Interesting. By the way, I don't know if they can see Lady, but Lady the cat.
You can probably hear her.
Yeah, she's alive. She's not like the squishies, although she's sort of shaped like one of them.
All right, so they were against, and these are the upcoming tag teams, the Brick City Boys.
So I didn't really care for them, and now they're on the... So when they first came out, I was like, I'm definitely rooting against them.
Right.
But then they were on the team with... I mean, I had to root against Goat Boy, because...
And so
Goat Boy.
Their partners were Bear Country.
Love
huge,
them.
Huge
Love
guys.
Them. Those are the biggest men I've ever seen in the ring.
They were at the first show.
Yes. And they wear like a growly mask when they first come on, and they are so much fun. So I will tell you, they were the tipping point. So whichever, even if they had been with CPA and Stupid Goat Boy, I still would have
cheered for them.
And so, yeah.
So I will also make note that because again, there's a story behind this as well. Bear Country and Brick City Boys were managed by Smart Mark Sterling.
Right. So as you can see, because we're showing you clips right now, as you can see, they're gigantic. They're growly. They're terrifying. Yes. When they came up on the ropes, I hope you're showing a shot of them on the ropes somewhere.
Well, it's all your stuff.
I know, it depends on what I filmed. Who knows? But so much fun. So much fun watching them. They're just a blast to watch. And terrifying. And you think, how is anybody going to flip them? But you will see a flip somewhere in there.
And so Bear Country and Brick City Boys end up winning. And then the swerve after the fact was Bear Country then beat up the Brick City Boys.
Yes, because they, like we, did not like them.
Correct.
And were just tolerating them because of the team. I couldn't have liked that match more, ironically, after being worried I wasn't going to like it. Because first of all, so much fun. I think watching Bear Country, I want to call them like the Country Bear Jamboree or whatever, the Bear Boys. I would watch them anytime. They're so much fun. I am going to comment that CPA mailed it in. He only took his shirt off once, and he didn't have a second tie.
True.
I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
I was like, lame. He was just as sweaty as usual, but he didn't have... He sweats a lot. And I think it's because you're wearing all those stupid shirts. Nobody cares. So, although I would have liked to see him and Goat Boy beaten just a little bit... Speaking of Goat Boy, do you remember Goat Boy on SNL?
Vaguely, yeah, it was Jim Brewer.
Please find a Goat Boy clip if you can.
Okay.
Because it's hilarious, and that's
I'm probably... I don't know if I'll be able to play it for copyright things, but I mean, go Google search for SNL Goat Boy.
Right. Okay, so anyway, I ended up could not like it more. Not only did it end the way I wanted to, team-wise, but then they beat up the people I didn't like on that team. So I was like, hell to the yeah.
It was a match made for Deirdre.
It was a match made for Deirdre.
All right, so next match was another tag match. It's two people who we saw on Friday, Teddy Goods with Little Mean Kathleen.
Yep. Only she was fighting this time.
She was wrestling this time.
So it wasn't just her walking them out. She was actually wrestling. And
still wild and crazy. And they wrestled two guys I've never heard of or seen before. The Stetson Ranch, Bret Ryan Gosling and Steven Stetson. One of them came to the ring with one of those toy horses that are just a horse head on a stick.
Hated them immediately.
Yeah, they're
I wanted somebody to take that and shove it up his butt and then twirl him around and fling him out of the ring. They were so all right. Here's my complaint about this match. It's a mismatch.
Yeah.
So you have on one side actual wrestlers that even with their showmanship really wrestle and wrestle hard. Both of them do.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Teddy and
LMK.
Yeah. So they're fantastic. And then you've got a pair that to me looked more like they should be like in the Alley Cat, right?
Yeah.
They were performance and against real wrestlers.
Right. And I guess to piggyback on that, I don't think they've been tagging long enough to feel comfortable with each other. So you have two performance-based guys that are trying to mesh with each other and not really getting it just yet. I could see a lot of potential, but we didn't get.
I don't think they should. I think they should only put them with other people who are doing something super performance-based.
Now, unfortunately, the Stetson Ranch won. I forget why.
Which infuriated me. So overall, I hated that match.
Yep. Hated
it. And I like rooting for was it LMK? I don't want to call it crazy.
A Little Mean Kathleen.
Okay.
LMK.
Yeah. So I like rooting for LMK and Teddy. I like rooting for them. They're fun to root for. They respond to the crowd. I like wrestlers that connect with the crowd who's rooting for them and sort of make that part of.
Yeah, I mean, they came out to DMX and were all into it.
Yeah, so I like rooting for them. So it was a very disappointing match for me because I didn't like who they were playing, and I didn't like the end result. Yeah. Playing like it's baseball. Why did I say that?
I don't know.
Fighting, not playing. Well, you know why I said playing? Because he came in with a freaking hobby horse.
Yes,
that's why I said playing.
Playing with a hobby horse.
Yeah, and in their stupid hats.
So for this next match, I'm going to do both events that happened before we talk about it. So at first it was Thomas Santel, who's a former WWE guy, the nerd.
Yes.
Who came to the ring with Fancy Ryan Clancy. It was originally scheduled as a singles match against Ray Jazz, who came to the ring with Tony Vincenta, who are
going on.
They're New Jersey based. And the reason why I told Deirdre I'm going through both is that Ray Jazz won very quickly by cheating.
It was ridiculous. And the funny thing is, I mean, obviously it was set up that way, but we were like, you actually said that was a fast match right next to me. And I was like, I didn't even figure it out before it was over.
So this in essence is what's called a dusty finish based on Dusty Rhodes. It goes further, but we have a lot to get through here, so I won't explain. So basically,
just look it up. Dusty finish. Sounds like a sex move, but it's not. Oh, that would be awful. Oh, he had a dusty finish.
Give me a dusty finish.
I mean,
you can just based on that alone.
I think it's a complaint. Yeah. Like, it was a dusty finish.
So because of the fact that it was a cheap ending, it became a tag match where Thomas Santel and Ryan Clancy tag teamed against the Jersey Boys, Ray Jazz and Tony Vincenta.
Yeah, and they came out like raging and, you know, challenging, and all of a sudden it was a new match, a much better match, obviously. Yeah.
And then the crowd got into it.
I booed everyone in that match, though. Yep. So that was the thing about that match. I was rooting for no one.
No, I don't blame. I mean, so Thomas Santel has a history with Beyond Wrestling. You know, people actually like him. The other guys I've never heard of before, so it was all new to me. Thomas Santel was the only one I was cheering for.
That sounded like you said it was all nude to you.
Yeah, either or.
Can you imagine? Can we see some nude wrestling? I think it
does exist.
Hmm.
And in the old wrestling magazines and like the back pages, you can order specialized wrestling.
Have you done that?
No, I haven't.
Brandon?
Well, because I was like 12.
Have you?
No.
Did you?
Maybe.
Anyway.
All right, so the nerds won. Ryan Clancy and Thomas Santel won, and
I just wanted them all to get beaten.
Right, just wanted the matches to end. But in, I guess, a pattern of stuff in this show, one of the Jersey boys turned on the other, like beat him up.
Yeah. There seemed to be a lot of like, we're with each other for this fight, but afterwards, F you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I guess without watching the previous shows, kind of didn't make sense, but whatever, it happened.
Hey, it was more fighting. So.
Yes.
Okay, next.
This was golden. All right, so guys from Friday, Channing Thomas, the Ric Flair guy with the big robe.
Yep.
Still came to the ring with Sidney Bacabella, the wig guy.
Still wearing his granny or mom's
mustache and wig.
Fancy.
Yep.
His mom's mustache.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were talking about Sidney and not Channing.
No, I was talking about Channing and that stupid robe.
Yep. No, he loves that robe.
I hate that robe so much. Anyway.
And so he faced Slade, where if you remember from my birthday episode, he's
okay. So
crazy.
My favorite thing about Slade is he never waits to be introduced.
Nope.
He always comes running in while they're introducing the other person and just punches somebody, and then the fight is on.
Yeah, and
it's my favorite thing. It's hilarious.
And he comes in wearing jeans with a belt that's tight.
Yeah, like he was, I don't know, like he was just wearing his regular clothes, happened to be walking by and saw this guy and decided to come in and give him a pounding. He's so much fun to watch.
He is.
He might be becoming one of my favorites, to be honest. Although we don't ever see him in the stuff we show.
No.
But I've seen him live twice.
Yep. I mean, he's mostly a deathmatch wrestler, so he bleeds a lot, which is kind of why I...
Yeah. But I love the just running in from nowhere. Like, they were literally still introducing, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, boom.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Slade didn't even have music. He just came out from, like,
him running.
The back.
Yeah.
So this was a quick match. Channing won by disqualification. There was powder thrown at Slade. There were chairs. It was a mess. But and you'll agree with me, the very fun and cool thing about this is after the match, Slade got really angry and destroyed both Channing and Sidney to the point where they were knocked out, just laying in the middle of the ring.
Yep.
And you would expect that they would just roll out as they get ready for the next match. Instead, the ring announcer goes, okay, it's intermission time. If you want, as fans, if you pay $10, you can get your picture taken with the two guys laying dead in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And they were true to their word. You pay $10, you get into the ring, and...
So right now you should be seeing our pictures. Because,
So prior to the show starting, I actually bought a shirt, as I showed last week. I bought a shirt from Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And both Deirdre and myself are sitting on top of the two dead bodies.
Well, they can see it because you're showing it right now.
Yeah.
Triumphantly brandishing the t-shirt.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So vote on which picture you like better. I think it's probably going to be mine.
I think my smile's better, though.
I don't know.
All right, so now we come back.
So love Slade.
Yes.
Love Slade. Slade.
Slade.
It's fun to chant for him, too.
All right, so we come back from intermission to Willow Nightingale fighting Rex Lawless.
Okay.
So I don't know if you call the tag match intergender, but this was an intergender.
Yes. So, again, I found myself rooting for Willow.
Yeah, Willow's great.
Again, I was glad that there was respect, definitely. In fact, the crowd was, I would say, 90% for Willow.
Yeah. So, I mean, they didn't really hide it, but they're in a relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
And you could tell.
Yes. So, the thing I will say about this match, and I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. The thing I would say about this match is that it was a performance match similar to... So now we've got 2 female. So other than LMK, right? Mm-hmm. So that makes 3 females, but LMK actually fought.
Right. So Allie Catch, and Becca.
Yeah, I don't mean 3 females separately. I mean 3 matches with females.
Oh, right.
So LMK was a real fight,
mm-hmm.
and the first one was a performance fight. This one was a performance fight that she fought more than a performance. Like, I want to see her fight.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like she crossed over, and yet it was supposed to be a performance fight. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it made me, and then it also made me think, is that all they think women can do? You know, that was what I thought.
I gotcha.
But I do really like her. I would definitely root for her in another match. I would definitely watch and pay attention to what she's doing next.
She actually, like, the next week she got booked to be on AEW, so she was on big time TV.
Oh, good. Good for her. That makes me happy because I think she deserves it. I think she's a better fight than that.
Yeah.
A better fighter, better wrestler than that match showed her to be.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think she's better than a performance match. I think she should do real matches.
All right. So, next match is Ricky Shane Page and Tyree Taylor.
I don't even remember this match.
So it was the 2 really fat guys. One of them had the huge eagle tattoo.
Right.
And at the end, Mark Sterling and Bear Country came in.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So what do you think I'm going to say about this?
Forgetful.
So definitely forgettable, but also I think you got to be careful if you're going to use 2 of the same style wrestlers.
Right.
They shouldn't be so mismatched. So I think watching the big guys after watching Bear Country.
Yep.
I think if they had been the only one we'd seen, I would have been impressed by sort of the sheer...
So, yeah, I mean, Bear Country is very agile, both of them.
Oh, my God.
So
and they're huge. They're even bigger than these guys. Like, so even the really big guys you see wrestle don't hold a candle.
And it's funny because Rex Lawless is pretty big, too.
Right. But I think you got to be careful of the comparative, or you got to finish with the Bear Country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that, some of that is just placement.
Sure.
You know, like, you don't show the best thing first.
But I think this match was also story based, since after the match ended, it went right into him Ricky Shane Page getting beaten up. And
right. Yeah, I think, but like you said, not totally forgettable. I don't want to it was still a good fight, but I think it should have been before Bear Country.
Right.
Because then all you're doing is comparing it, and then they come out. So right. So you really compare.
Right. And Bear Country manhandled RSP after he won. So, All right. So now we're going into the last 3 matches, the main events. First is Ichiban, who we saw on my birthday.
Okay. I'm going to say, though, on your birthday, wasn't that the match where on the...
Oh, I mean, Ichiban wasn't in that match.
I don't know why I thought he was in that match.
Well, because he was a masked
right,
wrestler.
That's why. Okay. So either way, I was very impressed with him on your birthday, but nothing compared to this show. And I don't know if it's because he was more impressive or I was more focused on him because maybe there were so many people on your birthday. I don't know. So you tell me, was he better in this fight than he was in the other fight?
Well, so I guess before we go on, he fought Max Caster.
Yes.
Who is super great anyway. So the story behind it is Max Caster has a briefcase of $10,000. If you could beat him in under 10 minutes, you get the $10,000. So I think Ichiban he's smaller, so he's always the underdog.
But he is. High flyer doesn't even begin. Like, highest flyer.
So him being able to be the underdog while still being able to do his forte in high flying stuff, they told a really good story I mean, there's story-based wrestling where there's outside stuff going on, but if you can tell a good story inside of the ring, that helps a ton as well, and I think they really hit the spot there. I think wrestling-wise, Ichiban was the same, but
really?
he got to showcase himself more because it was a one-on-one versus a 5 or 6.
So that's it right there, is that it was one-on-one instead of right. So I'm going to tell you, this was my favorite match of the night. Not by a huge margin, but this was my favorite match of the night. Yep. And if I was a mediocre fan of him before, I am a huge fan of him now. So impressed. And I also, I got to keep giving kudos to this crowd. It was a good crowd. The crowd's response to him, even after he lost.
Yep.
They made it clear that they had respect and that they wanted him back.
Yeah, so again, the name of the show is Please Come Back.
Yeah, and there was a lot of chanting of that.
Right,
yeah.
So the idea is that if you really like the people you're not familiar with, you want them to come back.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he got a big Please Come Back chant.
No, Ichiban's great, Max Caster is great. It was a great ending, too.
I hate Max Caster, so I don't know why he thinks he's great. I think he's a dumbass, and I think his rapping is horrendous. And I think he didn't deserve to win this match. I thought Ichiban was the better fighter. So I think he sucks ass. And I disagree. I also think it's fun that Ichiban's name is Ichiban because I want to call him Itchy Bum. I want to call him all kinds of things. But, I mean, by far the superior fighter in that ring should have walked away with the suitcase. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Next.
All right, co-main event. We have Waves and Curls.
Oh, right. I remember thinking, what a stupid name.
And they fought against a favorite of both of ours, Miracle Generation.
Yes. So this was a really exciting all the way through match. I felt like there weren't any down times.
I think this was my favorite match.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, it's not... When I say Ichiban was my favorite, it's not, like I said, by a huge margin. Right. I could see why this would be your favorite. Some of the other matches, even the good ones, it's like you have moments where you get distracted, you're drinking your drink, you're talking to the waitress, you're eating your food or whatever because there's a little lull and then you get pulled back in. So I felt like there was no lull.
Well, this was the match I got out of my chair and just stood up because I was...
I've been standing for about 3 or 4 matches by now, but
when this is one of the first matches announced, and even if I didn't have tickets at this point, this would have been a reason why I would have gotten them.
Yeah.
I mean, Waves and Curls, I know you didn't.
I wasn't familiar with them, and I thought it was a weird name, but they were incredible.
Right. Well, that's so Miracle Generation. They were at my birthday show. The show we saw it for my birthday,
and that was the first time I had seen them.
I knew their name. I've never seen them before, so that was the first time.
We were very impressed.
Yes, and then I
actually think they did better. That they fought better on your birthday, even though this was a great match. This was a better match for them because there was too many people in the other one. This was a better match for them, but I think they fought better in the other one. But they were still amazing. Yeah. I hate their name.
Miracle Generation.
No.
Waves and
Curls. I hate it. Yeah. Miracle Generation did... they're also Fly-E.
Yes.
Fly-E.
Fly-E.
Would you call them high flyers or just...
I mean, they look like they should be high flyers all the time, but I think that
they have a good mix. Yeah, like that isn't their thing that they're... Correct. Like for some people, they lead with that. Like Ichiban, that's his thing. That's what he does. Right. But they're capable of doing that.
They're very well-rounded of pretty much all aspects.
Yeah.
I think, and they're super young, so they're only going to get better.
Oh, they're going to be... I can imagine that they'll be like really top of the bill, maybe in the WWE or like something. They're really good.
They are really
They're
good.
Really good.
All right, so main event. So Miracle Generation won.
Yes, as they
should. And a really good match.
Yeah, it was really... And it was very even.
Yes.
It was very even throughout.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't tell who was going to win.
No. It didn't do that thing where one side did really well for a little while and then the other side. Right. It was pretty evenly matched all the way through. I think that's key to me staying focused the whole time.
Right.
Is when it's evenly matched. Anyway.
All right, and so for the main event, we have our one of our top favorites, Alec Price, going against Biff Busick, who's been on the show once.
Can I just tell you how much fun it was to see Alex earlier being completely whipped and then see him crazy in the ring? I thought that was a very clever, fun thing that they did.
And in a grander scale, when we saw him on Friday, he was in the opening match. And then 2 days later, he's main eventing. So,
by the way, sidebar, this is how I knew Brendan was drunk. Because on the drive home, I was simply commenting that I thought it was amazing that he did that twice in 1 week. And that it's when you see them, you're like, wow, that's great. I assume they're going to go home and like lay in bed for days. And to see him do the same thing, if not more, simply 2 days later. And I was simply trying to make that comment. And Drunk Boy over here was like, you know, they don't make a lot of money. And sometimes they do 3 shows. I was like, okay, I'm not talking about that. And he went on a very loud rant, and then he apologized for talking loud because he knew he was talking loud.
Right. In my mind, we
were having 2 very different conversations.
Deirdre was making a very valid point, a very good point. And in my head, we already had discussed this for about 5 minutes. So I was already at the conclusion of...
Yeah, he went down a gopher hole and popped up in a whole other part of the conversation.
Right.
And
so
I was like, ooh, I think Brendan might be drunk. Because he hides it really well. So it just pops up it's like, that's odd that he's yelling at me in the car. Anyway, so...
All right, so the story here is that Biff Busick was in WWE for 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
But before he got signed, he was what they call the ace of Beyond. So he was like the guy, the reliable, the dependable one who always brought in, fans, always had good matches.
Yeah. You knew he was going to win most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was the ace of Beyond before he came to WWE. Was recently released. So on my actual birthday, remember we were sitting here in bed watching that show online?
Yep. Yes, I do.
That was Biff's first show after being released from...
Yeah, so he's sort of on the downward side, like that thing that happens.
Right.
Where wrestlers, they were talking about that with, where on your podcast, where wrestlers are like the big shit and then they're back down.
Yeah, once they leave the WWE, they kind of have to catch themselves before they go to a weird spot.
I thought he did great, though.
Well, so that essentially was the match. It's Biff Busick, the ace, coming back versus Alec Price, who is, who the fans are now really getting behind.
Well, and I can't remember if I said this last week or not, but if I did, I apologize for the repeat. But I think it's really interesting to see this sort of influx of skinny, what would look like somebody who'd get their ass kicked if you just saw them on the street. They're all high flyers, the ones that are built like that.
Yep.
And they're all like animalistic. Like some wrestlers, there are wrestlers that take on their persona of, in the ring I'm an animal, like I could rip something open with my teeth kind of thing. It very Slade, and other people it's about precision and perfection. And he's definitely like takes on an ant, like growling and getting on the ropes. And I was thinking how they have to do that for us to believe that somebody who's built like them could kick somebody's ass. They have to be crazy and they have to be a high flyer.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see the influx of them versus the I'm just big and scary and sturdy. Like he's the opposite of Bear Country.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I guess going on that, he does it in a manner that's believable. And the fans can attach to him.
It's a very interesting thing because when he first comes in the ring, if you'd never seen him before, you would have been like, "There's no way it's going to be believable that he could go against this big guy, or this well-built guy, or this guy who looks more like your traditional wrestler." And then he does.
Yep.
Yeah. By the end, you're convinced.
I mean, so people were booing Biff by the end, which was crazy.
Yeah. I bet he's never been booed.
No, well, at least not in
very
Beyond.
Often.
Not in Beyond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a great match beginning to end from what I can remember.
I think anybody named Biff should get their ass kicked. So, and yeah, by that, how do you even remember at that point? God, he was so drunk.
I was, but I think I was hyper focused. I think I knew what was happening, so I tried to stay hyper focused because that was the match I wanted to see.
So overall, let's compare it to the other one. So I liked the fans far better at this one.
Better wrestling environment.
Yeah, and I think I had more vicarious fun at this one.
In Foxborough?
Yeah,
okay.
But I definitely thought that the wrestling was at a higher level.
Yes.
At Webster, and I was more in tune with the I was rooting for the fighting. It was much more primal for me.
At Webster?
Yes, yeah, I was involved on a primal level, and this one I was just sort of laughing and enjoying, and there were primal moments, but two very different experiences.
Yeah. It's hard. There were pros and cons to both shows.
Yeah, so really it just shows if you only go to one wrestling show, do you really understand what it's like to go to a wrestling show?
Right.
Maybe not.
Right. So without having the last year and a half of you learning about wrestling, if this weekend was your first experience, we may not, especially after Friday, it'd be tough to say if you'd be doing this. I mean, you have a wrestler in your lap.
Oh my God, I loved that. But I might not have loved that right. I don't know, who knows, but I loved that. I did. But it was much more like I wanted to climb in the ring and be a referee, fight with them. Right. I wanted to growl. I wanted to. Whereas on Sunday, I wanted to sit back and eat popcorn and watch and enjoy. Right. Two very different feelings.
And the food and the food and drink offering was better on Sunday.
Yeah. It was much more like bare bones, but better fighting.
Yeah.
On the I don't know.
Think that's
hard to say, but it was a fun weekend. It was really fun to do both in the same weekend.
Yes.
So that I didn't lose track and I really paid attention.
Yep.
So
I'm very appreciative that Deirdre was willing and able to do
new
this
things.
double shot weekend.
Yes, it was a double play, and I think I drank my drink more than you.
Oh God!
Oh, he's been a chatty cat
for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I've been like. All right, so on that note, the next time you see us, we'll have come back from Papoose.
I mean, as you're watching this, we're in Papoose Pond.
Right, that's true. We're just starting out in Papoose. By the way, you should come.
Yeah.
You should definitely come next year. We do it once a year. It's 1 week. It's so fantastic. It's a great reset.
Yep. Check the description for the email address and get your spot for next year.
Mm-hmm. Get your spot. On that note, we will say goodbye and see you when we come back.
Slade.